Hey, Salika, 2019 is on us, and a couple more days, and we're going to celebrate a great new year. But for HR, right, it's going to be a very interesting year, right, with globalization, with all the challenges of different issues that are cropping up, and robotics and AI and industry. I mean, that's all a myriad of stuff, right? What do you think are important things in 2019? What do you think are trends, especially in Malaysia, right, for 2019 for HR to be wary about, to be conscious about, and potentially focus on?
So one of the areas I feel HR needs to lead in an organization is to remind our people that your career is not a sprint, it's a marathon, right? It has to be sustainable, and in the context of what you're saying, there are so many changes that's happening. People are working in very fast-paced, highly demanding workplaces. So well-being at work, I think, should be an area of focus for the HR fraternity.
And well-being at work meaning?
So in any organization, the heart of the organization, the people who power all the work, right? We really need to take a step back and ask, are we looking at how we care for the well-being of the people?
Okay.
Now, how does HR promote a culture where well-being is at the front and center of our community at work? Yeah. So allow our people to recharge, for example. Block off certain time in a year where they can go off and rejuvenate. That's one example. Have policies in place where people can take career breaks or take sabbaticals, and you shouldn't be shy of also coming forward to say, you're going through some issues, dealing with all the stress in your in the workplace. So what does HR do to provide that support? We are not trained counselors, most of us are not, but do we have an avenue for our people to go to maybe a service provider where they can talk about the issues that they face? So in terms of stress, anxiety, depression, these are going to be something that you will face in the workplace, and oftentimes in the past people don't come forward with it. And I think as HR practitioners, it's about time that we take the lead to recognize that these are day-to-day issues that your people will face, and we need to then take proactive steps to make sure we have programs and policies in place to look into well-being at work and wellness of our people.
So that's one big area, well-being. Any other areas that you think that will be important for us?
So now, what do you see a lot in the media about Me Too? With the Me Too movement globally, people are more courageous to come forward. People speak up, they whistleblow, right? And
as we saw it,
I don't think it's anything new. The change now is because of global connectivity. People are more aware, and with movements like Me Too, I think it's only about time that HR really look at what we have in the workplace to encourage people to speak up. And if they do speak up, what are the processes that you have in place to make sure that you manage those issues, and you address what's being surfaced?
How does HR do that? I mean, how do they figure out? What kind of structures would you build as HR?
So, first you must try to encourage a culture where people are not afraid to speak up, right? So then people will come forward if they are, say, being harassed or victimized or bullied. So when they speak up, then what do you do as HR professionals? Do you have policies in place to deal with it? So look at your code of conduct. Do you have guidelines in terms of what behaving professionally means? How do you treat each other with respect? Do you have guidelines around that? Festivals are coming. How do you deal with receiving and giving gifts? How do you deal with close personal relationships at work, for example? How do you deal with partying? How do you make sure that if alcohol is consumed, it's done in a way that's appropriate? So these are guidelines you may already have, or if you don't, it's good to have them in place, and then remind each other in terms of what is not acceptable, and what's professional behavior, how do you treat each other with respect. So I think HR has a role in this space, and we need to take the lead in making sure we have that culture of trust in the workplace, a culture of respecting each other. So amidst all of the day-to-day that we have to manage in HR, no one else will be looking at this if we don't encourage this culture in our workplace. So now more and more, among HR friends, we know people are coming forward and speaking up. And how do we address this? So I think we need to start thinking about that. 2019, I think we will see more and more in the media articles about, people questioning whether the management is dealing with harassment in an appropriate manner.
Sure. And that I think will be huge in 2019. Another big huge thing is this whole IR4 and this whole piece, right? I mean, there has to be some impact in HR. I mean, what are your thoughts on this space?
Yeah, so of course, we often hear that we need to embrace man and machine working together.
Right.
So in the HR world, we need to look at learning and development, right? And rethink how our people learn. It's more about now learning in bite-size or snackable chunks, right? Just enough.
Little nuggets.
Yeah, just in time and just for me, right? The HR will be a curator of content. Not just a designer and also facilitator. We need to curate content, etc. So that's a given in terms of embracing IR 4.0. But oftentimes we struggle in HR also to try to partner with our business to see what are some of the capability building that we need to invest in, right? And changing mindsets from a fixed to a growth mindset, etc. So my suggestion in the HR world is try it out within your own HR team. All these new things that you want to introduce in your organization. People may take some time to change or to buy into what you're trying to do. So I'll give you some examples.
Give us some examples.
We are trying to look at different employment models, right? We say, okay, look at seasonal workforce, explore part-time workers, freelancers. So best place to start is in your own team in HR. And many of us lead fairly large, sizable HR teams. So we can always use our own example. So robotics, process automation, RPA. I tried RPA in my team. Actually, one of my boys just downloaded it free with no cost, taught himself out of sheer desperation because he had to deal with volumes of data for learning course programs that he has to key in. So he used RPA to try to automate all the different courses that he has to key in the system. We are also piloting now, looking at claims. How do we automate simple things like making sure the mileage is correct, making sure all the claims are checked, so we can experiment that within the HR team as well. Some of these software you can actually Google. In my team, we go and ask our consultants who do RPA for clients to come and teach us, and we kind of pilot, experiment, and learn from there. Hiring women who want to come back to work. There are plenty of roles in HR. You can try and give these women opportunities rather than say why my hiring managers are not receptive. We can also hire them for our team, for example. Reduce work week, working from home. All these are things you can try within your own HR team. Once it's successful, then other teams will be able to see and they'll be more open to also introducing the same in their own teams. So try this for 2019. Wow. Experiment in your own teams.
Sounds good. So it looks like it's going to be an exciting year. Thanks. Appreciate your thoughts on this, Salika.
Thank you. Pleasure is mine.
Look forward to seeing what happens in PWC too.